for Scythe, similar to how Ember Spirit set the tone in the last game, where he can dive deep, he can be extremely aggressive, and have a huge amount of burst damage potential.
The thing is that it kind of limits Spirit from picking up their next two heroes. I mean, okay, I'll assume the Tiny was going to come, but Night Stalker, that first Night is so crucial for him, and with the Tiny maybe being, let's say Tiny's level 5 by night time, maybe level 5 by night time. IO will probably be level 3, level 4. He comes out level 7, maybe level 6, level 7 with that 3 levels in Void, runs towards the bottom, probably will have boots and an urn if he does go for that. I mean, he could really destroy a hero like IO. Next Assassin, maybe not. Next Assassin could sort of sniff something out. When he gets voided, immediately, put on his spike carapace to try and ward off any attacks after that. But yeah, the first Night, I think, for Miracle in this game is going to be insane, because he can run around, pick off IO. Tiny might be a bit difficult, but now they have to pick up one more support here. Since I'm assuming the next Assassin is going to go into the suicide lane. So yeah, they're really limited now for this last pick. There's still a Rubik available. There's still a Shadow Demon available. You could go for the Twin-Head Dragon. A lot of people are starting to like THD once again. He's pushing potential. People going with sort of a maxing dual with one in Ice Path and getting a couple levels in Liquid Fire. There's oh my word, yes. I love Lycan. I love Lycan.
It's really good. This is actually really cool. I was assuming that, and now the Invoker's going to go Exhort because they have the IO plus Tony combo. They can jump in, get that Avalanche, and the Sunstroke will follow for global ganks, easy picks. But now you're dealing with heroes that just move too darn quick to be caught out. I mean, you see the Shapeshift from Lycan, the Hunter of the Night from Night Stalker, the Hookshot from Clockwork. All you're going to be able to manage to relocate gank is supports at this stage, and of course they're not going to be in a position where that's an easy option. They'll always stay with their allies, make you fight for it, and as a result, I really think that they're going to be able to thwart most of what Spirit Gaming are bringing here, unless they get some huge gold advantage. If Tiny gets really farmed really quickly, if the Nyx Assassin can survive even more effectively than usual on that offlane, assuming he does go there, then maybe they can still get that burst that can prevent Chen from picking up his early mech, or maybe even casting his Hand of God at all in a team fight. But more often than not, if he's positioned well, I really think that Scythe have just perfectly drafted to deal with what Spirit Gaming are bringing. Even so, we are going to see Ares select the Jakira. We'll see if that's going to be enough to deal with Miracle Lycan.
What? Okay, that's cool. I just want to mention one thing quick. If you look at Scythe's lineup, they don't have any heroes that can do damage in the while someone's cogged. But Invoker possibly going to get a 4-staff. So Cogs will go into team fight. They'll probably jump onto the Tiny, try catch out the Tiny. He gets 4-staffed out, and they don't really have a lineup that can kill people inside the Cogs. On the other hand, if you look over at Spirit's lineup, Clockwork's going to die almost every team fight. If he cogs himself and doesn't force off out or get out fast enough, he's going to get a macro pie, he's going to get a meatball, he's going to get a stun, he's going to get a mana drain, he's going to get stun tossed by Tiny. So their team fights, once again, I mean, they have long range initiation, sure, but I think Hana's going to have a horrible time this game. And I can't believe I said Rubik was sort of the pool when he was picked up. My bad. I realized that now. When I saw the Rubik, I was like, shit. But they did pick up the THD, like I mentioned, so I feel a bit better about myself. But yeah. Introduce the players here, and then we'll talk more about the Lycan solo mid.
Indeed. Assuming he does go solo mid, we might just see Polisan run the solo mid traditionally, and then have a safe lane Lycan, which is what I expect and what they are moving towards. But as we do go for formal introductions to start this off here in the AOC Pro Cup, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Looking over at the side of Spirit Gaming, we do see it's going to be Secret supporting up on the IO, going to be supporting the Tiny here, the ABC XYZ. And he's going to be farming up as quickly as possible to reach early builds like the Drum, the Phase, maybe Aghanim Scepter, things like that need to be picked up at a good pace in order to really make that hero worth the selection. But in the meantime, we are looking over at the top lane and seeing that switch out here, Nan VCL is the rename. I'm not sure if that's a switch out of the player, but it's certainly switch out of the name of the Nyx Assassin here. That is going to be on the mid. Misa, once again, this time under the guise of Invoker, and that leaves the Jakiro to be played by Ares.
And over the side of Scythe, we've got in the jungle X-Freedom or Freedom, Captain on that Chen. Rubik being played by Scripted or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Middle lane, Paulson back to his mid lane. obviously pretty happy about that. And of course, Hana on the offlane with that clockwork. And then the sort of the talk of this game, the pickup on the Lycan. I really, really like the change to the Lycan's wolves. Level 4 wolves get the HP regen. I mean, they still do cost quite a bit of mana. That was probably the biggest reason he was sort of taken out of the meta game when they changed the wolves, and you couldn't really do much with him in jungle anymore. And I remember when I started casting Dota, Lycan was probably the most banned hero. So at the moment, yeah, now he's sort of making his way back in, hopefully. But the wolves level 4 are so fantastic that you can get that HP regen, and yeah, you can turn around a game if he wants to be cheeky and go for a necrobook. He can. Oh, that's why.
Yep.
I was wondering why Miracle was A-clicking creeps. I was like, what's going on?
Yep, not characteristic of him at all, but he is going to go disconnect out, come back in just a few moments after resolving his technical issues there. Unfortunate to happen now, but better than in the middle of a team fight, I suppose. Don't want to be accused of any puppy pausing going on from the lycanthrope. But yeah, for right now, we're going to see an early pickup of the Feral Impulse. A lot of teams have been talking about how the real way to make Lycan work in the current metagame is to really appreciate his passives more, appreciate his appreciate his Feral Impulse, and to look at those as opportunities to really find that early farm, because just going into the jungle straight up with wolves, the wolves don't nearly have enough armor to tank up the neutrals anymore. Actually, most of the time when people tried to make it work, it was Lycan that was doing most of the tanking, and the wolves were just there for damage until Vlad's came up. But now we're seeing him in the lane. He's going to get some nice right-click damage, just +9 for now. From the Feral Impulse, and that'll give him plenty with, of course, Scripted doing the zoning and Freedom doing the roaming. So I think he's pretty well set up for the first phase of the game, but we'll see how aggressive he gets on those towers as he approaches level 7.
Yeah, I picked up Lycan yesterday just to try it out. I mean, I saw someone. I was just doing a couple of ranked games, and yeah, the passive is so important. I mean, I randled him, so I had a bit more gold, but the sort of the same thing going for the Feral Impulse level 1. I mean, that's pretty much stock standard nowadays. And then picking up the wolves. Wolves are nice, especially when you're against a solo lane. Once you get them to high enough levels, they do a lot of damage and harassment. So you can sort of set them forward onto your opposition and just let them chop away at him. And when they run away towards tower, pull them back. And they last pretty long. I mean, they last They last 55 seconds, yeah. So almost more than duration of the wolves itself. So it's a fantastic hero, and I actually can't believe more people aren't picking him up. His biggest letdown, I guess, is that his items, he has to go for the BKB almost always, because he can get kited pretty hard and can get shut down in teamfights, especially the Nyx Assassin, Tiny, etc. So he does need to go for that BKB. And well, the great thing is it gives him a bit of damage. And with the Feral Impulse as well, and Howl is also that's also one of the spells. I'm interested to see how he levels up going into the late game when he starts picking up Howl exactly. And one more thing about the Lycan is, yeah, you can go for the Necrobook and just push the crap out of the opposition team.
Yeah, that was actually the Lycan that most people were afraid of. Like in pubs, you'd see the I'm gonna go for Basher Lycan. But in real high-quality games, wherever the Lycan did slip through the draft, maybe against the Naga Siren, maybe not, but he would always go for that like BOT, Necronomicon, crazy push strats, and he would just burn through your towers in no time at all. He was the Rat Dota before Rat Dota existed. And he was just the one who would always, you would win a fight, you'd feel elated, and then you look at your base and you've just lost 2 towers, maybe a Rax, and you're just feel sour after that. So he was something that they had to deal with, and it's very difficult to respond to, because right now, if you consider the fact that he gets maximum movement speed during his shapeshift, what do they have to pin him down? An Ice Path, an Avalanche, an Impale, sure. But if they don't have the Invoker in range for a Cold Snap, there's no way that that's enough to kill him. It's just they have to commit too many resources, and he's going to get away with murder on this top lane. So that, accompanied with the fact that because they selected him on the Dire team, which is probably one of the few places you'd ever see him selected, he is going to be able to control Roche more effectively and picking him up at a very early time, maybe within the first 15 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and well, I was thinking in terms of lockdown, what they could have done it's not really that popular anymore, but in terms of creep clear as well, it's pretty fantastic. Is the Beastmaster. I mean, I don't know why people don't play Beastmaster anymore. Okay, there was a change to his Call of the Wild, which is it's alright. I mean, sometimes you only wanted the Hawk, sometimes you only wanted the Boar, so yeah, it's fair enough. But up against the Lycan, that was the sort of counter to Lycan, the Roar, because it goes through BKB as well as Naga Siren's net, but they themselves banned out Naga Siren. So, if they could have run the Nexus as support, and they could have had a Beastmaster in the offlane. I mean, he's against a dual lane, he can stand his own, he can stack Ancients, he can farm Ancients. It's not hard, and but yeah, I mean, they went for the Jakiro last, and Jakiro actually as well, especially against Clockwork when he gets in those cogs. But we'll see now, as we're back into the game, and we're probably going to see a very early push as well coming out here from Scythe. Maybe second wagon wave, maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, if the Chen gets some good creeps right now, starting off with the Dark Troll Summoner, he can just spam out those skeletons and feel pretty good about himself. But Freedom not microwaving perfectly. He's going to eat a Hellbear Thunderclap, so that's not exactly how you want it to play out if you can keep your ranged hero at bay. But either way, he's going to still get some good farm up, and he is going to be able to push with this Summoner pretty simply. So yeah, this gets him in a good position where if he does want to rotate for the tier 1, that's no trouble at all. But Nick's going to, of course, do what he can to avoid that as quickly as possible.
Wow. Sorry, I'm just mesmerized by Paulson's last hitting in the solo mid. Have a look at his CS.
Oh, well, right now we do see some big damage coming into Hana with the tether right clicks, but unfortunately not able to get the body block off. They're not able to finish him off. Looking over at Pulson, though, as you mentioned, he is beating a Invoker. That's Invoker is 5 for 3 compared to 8 for 2.
His last, I mean, it was insane. It was underneath the tower. He didn't miss it was like clockwork. He didn't miss a single hit on the creeps, and then even voided the last one because the tower was about to hit it. Like it was. I was just like locked in. But anyway, let's move on from that. So
I mean, you make a good point. But right now, Pulson is setting himself up for great success on the CS early because he's actually only putting 1 point in void despite being level 3. Some Night Stalker players make the mistake of saying, okay, well, I have the skill point, I better use it. Right now, he didn't put a point in his stats. He's conserving it for when he actually wants to start nuking and harassing down his opponent. For right now, it's very mana efficient to just use rank 1 Void to guarantee the last hits in the worst case scenarios. So he's just in general doing really well right here. We'll void that one, and yeah, he is topping out that CS. And that's one of the 2 reasons why he's doing so well. The other reason is because Invoker is skilling so defensively. Went for a Blades of Attack, which is pretty good, but he still is running double quas. He's not just now putting a point in Wex. He has really powerful cold snap damage, but as far as his right-clicking potential, we're looking at only 46 base. Now we do see Jakiro coming in. The cold snap will come out a little belatedly. Will the tornado be enough to bring him? No. That cold snap was just a little bit too late, and they were attacking low ground to high ground, so the tanky Night Stalker will be able to not only survive, but thrive in this environment.
Yeah, and bottom lane, a little bit of pulling going on here from Secret, trying to keep the lane. I mean, Clockwork up against Tiny. Clockwork can essentially destroy this lane. I mean, he gets a couple of early levels in that battery assault and just kind of really walk up to the Tiny. And if he does bounce him with cogs, Tiny has an extremely small mana pool. So yeah, they can't leave him alone here for too long. And it looks like they've sent the Jakiro middle now. They've noticed. I mean, Nightstalker kind of slowing down now since he's seen the Jakiro in the lane. But still, going to farm up. And in the meantime, 21 CS up on Miracle. He's going to have his. Probably. What on earth is he going for? Oh, he's going to get a medallion. Sorry, yeah, medallion for Roche. Sorry, I was thinking like he's got a chainmail and a Sage's mask. I mean, but then I remember that's what makes medallion from the shopkeeper's quiz.
Nice.
The long queue times in South Africa, man, long queue times. But yeah, the once he gets that Vlad's up very soon. I mean, it's going to be like wow. I mean,
down at bottom lane, Pulson going to be able to do a lot of damage, but Io just going to be able to TP away, and kind of I wouldn't say unnecessary, but I feel that Hana was out of there no matter what. He was trapped in. He walked around by the side shop, had to juke into the tree line, but the tether had already connected, the avalanche already on cooldown. I felt that he was kind of on the mend. He was heading out and wasn't requiring any assistance. Pulson thought he could find something there, but instead just comes down, tries to make something happen, gets Faith back home. So I guess no harm, no foul, but this is precious minutes in his first night. Now, Night Stalker isn't as first night reliant as he used to be. It used to be you had to get kills in first night or you were worthless, but now because of the changes to the timer, making it so that nighttime strikes at 8 minutes, as well as the 4-minute mark, it does mean that he can wait it out a little bit and be effective in the second night. But a player of Polison's caliber, he doesn't want to be that weak. He wants to be as aggressive as possible, and hopefully the Rubik and Chen can set him up for it, as they are making their movements towards the mid lane, and now actually Night Stalker smoking himself up to the top unnecessarily, as the Radiant don't even have ward vision up here, but he doesn't know that. He just wants blood, and we'll see if he can find it here on the next assassin.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, no Carapace going to come out. They will be slowed down by the Void, but the Crippling Fear about to expire. 1 second, not going to be soon enough. First blood goes to Polison on the Night Stalker. Very nicely done. But in the meantime, Tiny, IO diving deep. It looks like Tiny will fall to the tower, but Clockwork was the first to die there. Oh my gosh, IO, are you serious? Is this really happening? Secret dies to tower all by himself. Hannah gets a post-mortem double kill from the tier 2 and the tier 1. That's the low armor Tiny and the lock-in of the cogs under the tower. Oh, brutal. Brutal. As Scythe takes it 3 for 1 now.
It looks like they're trying to go for a little push on the top lane now as well. Bring it down. Yeah,
Radiant structures are fortified.
Sorry. Just looking at... that's what I want to say, man. I'll talk about the... Oh, yeah, Night Stalker. That's what I was thinking during the draft. I was talking about the items he needs to have by the first night, and I realized, wait a second, night time's at 4 minutes now, not at 6 anymore. And I realized that that's impossible to have that amount of... Well, not really. You know, if you do manage to get a triple kill early, you maybe have that much experience and that much gold, but it used to be a lot more likely, as you said. First night was so important because you were able to get items like, an urn of shadows, your boots and shadow and bottle could have been, acquirable by the 6-minute mark. It's not impossible by 4 minutes, but in the way this game's going, it's a professional game, and all Paulson's really doing is farming, despite getting that first blood. So, yeah, 4-minute night, and I think he's done okay. I mean, he got the first blood. Oh, he could be in trouble here.
Yeah, they're going to see the Impale come out, but he's still pretty tanky. Going to take up through a lot of it. The Ice Path will connect, though, and that should be enough. The Magic Stick, the Telekinesis, is he going to die? No. Yes, he will fall in the end, but trying to get a return kill. Unfortunately, the Hellbear Smasher not in range, and neither one of them being a kind of a range neutral creep. In the meantime, though, Aya will be picked off on the top lane, and that's no surprise at all, considering that he is a 0 armor hero up against a Medallion Lycan. -6 armor.
Why was he top?
I don't know. That's the question, but as far as the result, it pretty much speaks for itself. Like, this guy takes 140 some odd percent damage. When he's getting hit by that medallion. I don't know the math on it 100 by memory, but it's not looking good. It's just not looking good as they take the tier 1 tower up top, and meanwhile get ganked down bottom results in a kill on the Tiny.
Well, that's the end of the first night, and it's just a 1-1-1 for Night Stalker. Not too bad. I mean, he can pick up his trades now as well. What happened to not going? Well, what happened to the phase boots, man? Night Stalker phase boots. That was the thing. That was the thing. I go for the trades. Obviously, I want to be a bit more tanky. I mean, I guess.
I don't know. You get a little bit more right-click damage from the Howl. So the attack speed is a little bit more effective. You get a little bit more lockdown from the Clockwork and the Chen. You just kind of feel like you have the setup where you don't have to be running all over the map to make things happen. But while we're deliberating that, I feel like every time I try to ponder one of your queries there, that's when the ganks start happening, and that's why I start missing kills. So I'll try to focus a little bit more on my camera work. Sorry about that, guys. And we'll see some more action as darkness breaks out from Polison. Pursuing, should be able to get the kill in secret. We'll see how well the jukes occur, but he sees the balls. He knows his target, and he is honing in for the kill. Nice boy.
Why did you tell it to the Nyx?
You expect
the Nyx was in range. I had the rangefinder on, and he was. I had the range thing open, and he was going right towards it. Oh, Nyx, that's under the sentry ward.
Under the sentry ward, pulled in. Wow, that test of faith damage. That is brutal.
Yeah, that was strange.
Is he actually going to do it? He got the Ice Path off here. We're going to see Shockwave to come out at the very least, but I don't know if they have enough damage. The Tornado to turn around with another Ice Path, and it looks like Ares at the very least will be able to evade the assault. But in the meantime, check out the Roche Pit. There is, of course, the fight breaking out a little bit here. Tiny comes in, gets a big burst on Chen. Rubik will fall as well. The Lycan dropping Roche down to below 2,000 HP, but will they even think about it? let alone pursue it that rapidly enough. It looks like it will fall, and Miracle will get a huge, juicy boon of gold and experience, as well as that Aegis of Immortality.
You know, Lycan's ability to Roche is fantastic. I mean, all things aside, that is great that he can Roche so quick.
Relocate on the mid lane, Cold Snap, that's just not even worth calling the spell. She's gone in seconds. They cancel the TP on the Rubik to push on this tier 1 tower. 4 seconds remain on the relocate. He'll probably break off the tether here. No, he's going to pull Tiny back, and as a result, they won't take this tier 1.
Yeah, but as I was saying, Lycan, in my opinion, he's not really the best. He's not really the best Aegis of the Immortal carrier. I mean, once he pops his Aegis, goes on his ulti, runs into Aegis Immortal, dies, comes back as a Lycan again. Sorry, as not the wolf, and he just dies. So in this case, I would have probably have called over Nightstalker and said, yo, Paulson, come get the Aegis of the Immortal. Since the next night time, he can dive really hard. I had this conversation when I was doing one of the other cups, and Tiny just gonna keep getting kills all over the map, but probably gonna die here too. No, Paulson. Oh, it's daytime. Can't really do much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was having this chat with one of the co-casters I worked with during the week about just priorities in middle lane. Miracle. Not too worried. Priorities in Roche, I mean, we saw it being picked up by heroes like Death Prophet when there was a Nyx in the team, stuff like that. So it's just something I want to maybe get your opinion on. But there's so much action that I fear asking for your opinion.
Well, it's hard to call as far as that kind of control mechanic. There is just so much movement, like you said, across the map. So it's really hard to just focus on one thing like that. I mean, I don't know. I just at this point, this game is just so fast paced that I'm like, it's weird. I'm actually like straining to listen to you while watching the map, and I feel like I'm gonna miss something the second that I actually try to focus on.
It's being a man, not being able to multitask. I feel we're so limited. That's why one loves Lily so much, because she can multitask. We can't multitask. We have to just watch. But anyway, yeah, it's also my job to notify you when there's battles going on. So I guess I'm slacking as well. But a smoke up now from Scythe, so they're going to try probably take down this mid tower. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to see some pressure there. We do see a lot more farm on Spirit Gaming. They were able to take out like a quadruple stack between Jakiro and Wisp. Underneath right next to a Dire Observer ward, so it could have been a dangerous proposition, but luckily they're not worried about the nighttime until a few seconds from now. Should be about the 12:25 mark. We will be seeing the moon come out and this Night Stalker with those big old wings. Now only level 9, he is going to be not as potent as he could be if he was like finding the level 11 at the 12:25, but he did get picked off twice, and as a result did lose out a little bit on experience. They're trying to bait in people to TP to defend the bottom tier 1. That's not going to happen though. In the meantime, Chen is going to actually rotate in for the full push.
Oh, and he is going straight for that Necro book. Miracle. Probably going to be exactly that Necro book into TP boots. But yeah, they're going to trade up middle as well as bottom. Actually, they could get back in time to defend. No. Not with the Tiny.
Yep, too much damage coming out with that toss, and we do see they're actually even pinging out to rotate on the top tier 1, but it looks like Pulson's a little bit ahead of the curve here. He's going to scout everything out with this Invis Root, and oh my gosh, Ares went the wrong way. That is not the area you want to be in. Now, we do see the Tornado is available, but Hookshot connects, and they're going to drop him in the cogs. EMP will come out, will hit on Hannah alone, but is the reinforcements from Scythe coming in rapidly enough? Hannah, dropping low, will fall. With a couple of extra sources of magic damage incoming as well, so there was really no hope of him getting out of there. But I'm not sure about the decision making once they realized how far away the Jakiro had gotten. Like, I understand Pulson jumping in right there, but as soon as he saw the Invoker, I figured both of them would have gone in full retreat, knowing they had no reinforcements. Instead, they committed to something they just really couldn't manage, and it does give Spirit this slight kill lead.
It was strange because they had a ward up here on the high ground, or that was actually just placed. Never mind. But no. They saw the Invoker, they saw the THD, and they decided to instead just do the hook shot onto him. And with Invoker they're alone and the THD, if you don't catch him in the cogs, and he got all his spells down, he got the Ice Pot down, he didn't get a Macropie down, but I think he got a Dual Breath as well. I mean, Invoker got all his spells off, and then all of a sudden there was Tiny and Wisp as well. Like, they can't. That was a very strange engagement, as you mentioned. And they, on the other hand, have got wards up on the high ground that they've just put up now as well. My God. I look at it, I'm like, oh, they got a ward. Like, it's the time that's just been put up. But yeah, that fight, that they should have just backed off. I mean, Paulson had the advantage with the invis. He could have maybe just scouted them out for a bit, and then once the team regrouped, gone in for a big fight. But that was very uncharacteristic of Scythe there.
Yeah, but the vision is actually a pretty interesting topic, considering, like, of course, Jakiro, like, when I said he was in no man's land, he had a reason why he was moving that direction. He was moving in to place the ward there, and that's when he was able to get that nice little vision up here on the top lane, on the mid lane. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's apparently 6 o'clock in the morning casts are not my forte for controlling the map as effectively as it should be. We do see big damage coming on Nyx. He will fall, and now the fight will break out. Probably focusing onto Misa next, but we do see the Wisp Tiny breaking the Aegis at the very least. The Invoker will certainly fall to the next Void as soon as Pulsar gets to the high ground there, but looking over at low HP Jakiro, he is going to be able to retreat the... I thought the IO got the kill on the Chen in turn, so Tiny helped him out with that right before the relocate ended and sent them right back to the bottom lane. So pretty nice for them, as now Tiny will be able to finish off the bottom tier 1, but Chen's neutrals along with Pulsar going to look to the tier 2 and mid.
There's no backdoor protection on all. There's no creeps around, so not doing any damage. But now, yeah, the pushing power comes out now. We spoke about luck, and it doesn't matter whether or not they're getting sort of destroyed in team fights. I think once they start splitting up a bit, and they do have really, they got the IO, they got the Tiny to sort of jump on the Lycan when he does stop being an annoyance and pushing lanes, but they can't do that every time he switches a lane. They're going to need the Tiny for big team fights because he's what's doing most of the damage. You've got Paulson sort of ripping through. He's got a BKB up now, 16-minute BKB on Paulson, so he's going to be a massive problem. So they're opening up a lot of room here, a lot of space for Miracle just to push and be an absolute annoyance, and I think that's exactly what he's going to start doing now that he's picked up Necrobook level 2 as well.
Yeah, so now he's going to have much more potential to just bring down the towers rapidly, but we haven't even hit on the fact that Tiny is one of the most signature heroes for doing this as well. With the Relocate's assistance, the Overcharge, which is now being maxed out by Secret, it just sets it up. Oh, actually, shape-shifting Lycanthrope getting hit by a stun. Will it be enough with this Cold Snap to bring him down? They don't have enough damage instances. They're going to throw the toss. The Shiro is there for the Ice Path, but he's a little bit too quick on his feet, and he will be able to evade the assault. Yeah, in this position, I was going to talk about one thing, but Tiny and IO have things different in mind. They're going to go hard, relocate forward, and bring down the Chen. These Observer Wards really coming into play now. Anyways, as I was saying, the IO is looking to max out his Overcharge, maximize the attack speed of the Tiny, so that when he gets that Aghanim Scepter, he can just tear through the towers. They can even go for relocate backdoor attempts after he gets something like an AC or a Manta style.
Well, they'll put pressure onto the tier 2 mid and try to bring that down. He should have his Scepter actually on the way pretty soon, but look at that, Necrobook 3 now on the Lycan, and he's going to probably get those TP boots soon, but this is making me a little bit nostalgic now, seeing this Lycan. Missing the good old Dota 1 days before OP heroes like Ember Spirit were added. But yeah, the push coming out now. But Tiny, as you said, he's got the ability to, if they do take a team fight, which they do have relatively good team fight potential. I mean, looking at Scythe, they don't really have team fight. That is a push lineup. That is a pick off push lineup. Where on the other hand, they've got Spirit have got crazy team fight. Invoker, Jakiro, Nyx, Tiny. So once Tiny gets that Scepter, as you mentioned with the Overcharge middle lane, he's going to be fine. As you mentioned with the Overcharge, they win a team fight near a tower. They can take a tower and a Rax pretty quickly if there's no buybacks or glyphs. So it's going to be a very, very risky mid game, but I feel Miracle's going to start splitting them up pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to see that in action. They're going to need to really break apart the fights. They have a great team for pickoffs with the hook shot, with the Night Stalker. They can really jump into adverse positions where they can single somebody out. But as far as a full 5-on-5, now that the Wisp has finished his mechanism, it's actually a lot harder to accomplish this. When we consider they have 3 AoE stuns, and they have a mechanism which can heal up to 625 HP on a tethered target, if it does the full healing on both the Wisp and his tethered individual. It's amazing how well they can sustain the fights and how well they can burst targets down, like Polosan here with the EMP to follow. He does follow the BKB though, and that should be enough to speed him away. It will be his 10-second BKB charge, which is quite unfortunate, but they're still going to be able to avoid a death, which is of the utmost importance since Roche is only about 10 seconds away from respawning.
But in the meantime, bottom lane, Miracle doing what he's been wanting to do the whole game, and that's get a big push up. But Chen actually sending in some creeps as well, so this tower's going to go down really quickly, and they're going to trade up for mid. Well, pick up a kill, and they're just going to... Oh, it's Nuzlocke as well.
Oh, he went back in. Oh, that's unfortunate. So he went back into it. They will trade a tier 2 for a tier 2. A little bit EMP. The relocate will come across. Oh, he didn't even bring a buddy. In fact, Medallion, Root, that's a Death Wisp. That is the opposite of Saving Private Ryan. That's throwing Ryan under the bus and feeding him to the wolves. This is just sad to see, but yeah, in the end it is technically a solo mid pick for a support pick and an even tier 2 for tier 2 exchange.
Yeah, I mean the gold graph it's still ahead for Scythe, and that's just because Miracle's farming all the time and the experience as well, but it's not much. Just at the 20 minutes, I mean we saw last game 20 minutes was almost at like a 16,000 lead for Scythe, so they're holding on to their own this game. I think realizing I think their picks are a lot better this game, especially if they continue to do what they're doing right now, and that is forcing the issue against Scythe and forcing team fights and getting pickups of their own. And Roche, as you mentioned, is up now, so we'll see maybe a big fight coming out. This is a fight that Spirit can take very easily.
Indeed. So we'll have to see if they can actually find that 5v5 opportunity, or we're just going to see the Rat Dota commence. But for right now, we do see Scythe are going to be the aggressors with the Smoke of Deceit. Doesn't have that much of a duration left on it, so I'm actually doubting that they'll even find anybody by the time it will dispel. But they're going to try for it. Cutting through the center of the jungle, and now we see a smoke up. Gonna go up the ramp, or around the ramp. They're gonna both dispel right now. There's a huge AoE position that they're in, but it's a great initiation from the Invoker to start. Big AoE stuns, bursting down Hannah. He's gonna fall first, and now they don't really have anything going for them. They will finish off the Tiny because of the BKB Night Stalker, and now bringing down the Wisp because he has such low armor. But can they get anything more? They have such speed and such pursuit, but they'll just say, hey, you're down, you're Tiny, you're down 2 heroes, we're going for Roche, and we're going to take it here. So, in the end, a great start off by Spirit, because they did get a choke point where they could hit on 2 or 3 heroes with all their spells, but it just wasn't enough against that BKB Night Stalker, and a great Hand of God and Mechanism keeping everybody alive. That means Scythe will take not only the fight, but will also take the Roche.
And this time Nuzlocke will pick up the Aegis, so that's pretty fantastic. That was actually really well played by the IO. He jumped in and managed to save the get a double mech off on the Jakiro, but you know, you could have maybe saved it for the Tiny. Tiny got picked up at the back, as we saw. It doesn't have a BKB, just got silenced and hit down to nothing from the Lycan. I mean, Lycan got there just in time as well. That was a great team fight. As you mentioned, it was a great chokehold for Spirit, and I think they could have done a lot more damage, but they themselves got caught off guard with a smoked up both from the side, and the relocate, you know, could have done a bit of damage as well. But I think MVP of that team fight had to be Paulson, who just got a couple of good silences, and as well as almost picking off the Jakiro.
Yeah. I really just think it was kind of a panic situation. I mean, they did not expect that fight whatsoever. By the time the smoke dispelled, the fight had already begun. So I kind of feel like right when the tornado hit the ground, 3 spells were flying out, 3 stuns that could have been staggered more efficiently, but instead just dropping down immediately. Now, Rubik might be sent back in time, but the toss connects, and that means that he is indeed going to fall. Polasan coming in, does have a BKB and an Aegis bursting on IO over the ice path, but he's going to try to tether back home, relocate away, not going to be fast enough. Hannah now being tossed in, but Tiny is locked in the cage, and as a result, Clockwork will be able to get out through the cogs and survive, and right now they have the movement speed to maybe survive. Oh, never mind. Wow, a great Evitas coming out from ABC XYZ after the fact, and they're going to pick off 2 more heroes. Took out the Aegis, took out the Lycan, now Polasan locked in place, and he will be the guaranteed kill. This is actually huge for Spirit. I really thought that they could have chased down and finished. Oh, well, as I say that, they chased down and finished off the Tiny, but Polasan will still pay for it dearly. So I really did think that Scythe were going to be able to do more with that, but because they were both caught, both of their damage dealers were caught in a huge avalanche toss. That just was the burst that they were looking for to finish off 2 big right clickers.
The funniest thing there was, you spoke about a cage, and it made me think of that they weren't locked in there. Tiny wasn't locked in there, they were locked in there with Tiny. And then we saw that come out immediately, and he just absolutely destroyed them. And yeah, it was a great team fight again. And 17-14, I mean, Goldcraft, quick look at it, and it's still in favor of the Scythe, but I feel like I said, Tiny, they have the potential to win a team fight near a tower like that, and potentially take a tower and take a tier 2 and do quite a bit of damage to a tier 3. And I'm getting red text.
Oh no.
For some reason, server.
But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty interesting game though. Comparing this to our first game and looking how much of a stomp that was, just Ember Spirit and the Spirit Breaker running all over Spirit Gaming's lineup. It was sad to see, but it was kind of expected once you saw that momentum shift. But this one here, we saw a little bit of momentum for Scythe. They got 2,000 gold advantage. They held that for a while. Got almost to 4K. But we see right now Spirit pulling it back, and it's just looking really strong for them to try to bring this to a Game 3. I mean, if Tiny finishes up this BKB, what can stop him from just annihilating the opposition? I mean, this guy's got his Aghanim Scepter, he's approaching his level 16, and he's got a Wisp at his back at all times. And that just makes him an ever-present threat across the map, as well as in those big 5-on-5s. So yeah, big expectations for Tiny in the next engage. In the meantime, Invoker has found not only his maxed Wex, giving him 550 mana burn if he connects with the EMP, but now is moving into his Orbs and Exhort to make put more damage on the field with that element.
I'm just reconnecting to the game quick.
Sure enough. So looking over at the item progression for right now, we do see that Miracle has picked up his BKB. That's going to be instrumental for them fighting through this the next time around. Last time Polison's BKB had expired, and we saw how